Hello, I'm Linda Ewald, and I am talking to you today about the VA medical care system, particularly the VA Medical Care System Center in La Jolla, California. My husband was not feeling up to par. He just felt lack of appetite, that type of thing, and he went into the Chula Vista doctor's VA office there, and he decided to run some tests. Well, they found something funny in his lungs, and so they decided to do a biopsy. They did their biopsy, and they were suspecting cancer. They did not bother to do the biopsy on the tumor in the liver. They ignored it. A month later, they told us, it's going to take just 2 weeks and we'll have the results. 2 weeks go by. We didn't get no results, no phone calls, no nothing. Finally, a month later after it was done, we go into the Chula Vista VA medical offices and talk to the nurse there. She makes a phone call, and it was only then that the doctor bothered to call us to tell us that he had cancer. They let a whole month go by. What's up with that? Make another appointment. A month goes by. We go in. They decided they're going to do this treatment. Told us about 2 different treatments, and we opted for this one. And we get home, and we're discovering that, hey, this is given after chemo, not before or there. So I made several phone calls trying to get him back in there. An earlier appointment, or get hold of the doctor or something. No phone calls were ever made back to us. We get in there and we explain that we don't want that treatment after all, that we wanted to go through the chemo. The Dr. Anderson threw a fit, threatened not to treat my husband for cancer, and stormed out of the room. She comes back in with the person as head of the department, which we argued with then. And it was given to us basically, you do the treatment we want, not what you want, or no treatment at all. This is what we took away. That if we didn't do the treatment that they wanted, that they weren't going to treat him at all. So they took him off of it for a week, then put him back on it at a lower dosage. He began to complain about some pain. So I made numerous phone calls trying to get hold of the doctor to see if she can prescribe something. Didn't happen. None of the phone calls were ever returned. I made like 20, 30 phone calls trying to get hold of them. They were never returned. In fact, any phone calls we ever made, but one, was never returned. So I take him into the emergency room. I'll live to regret that. Dr. Boise at the VA Medical Center was a doctor who saw him that day. Decided to put him on morphine. He did not tell us that it could make him confused and stay confused. And that's exactly what happened. It also didn't tell us that it can make his liver fail. Now, this doctor knew my husband was on full treatment, not comfort care. He ignored all this and did it anyways. Gave him morphine. Took him home that night. They should have admitted him, but they didn't. Took him home. And at first I thought, okay, it's morphine, it's making him a little high. He complained of more pain at 11. I gave him another pill, which they said I could. And the only thing that happened is he got more confused. By morning, he was still confused. I didn't give him any more. I made numerous phone calls again to the VA. Nothing happened. No phone calls. Tried to make an appointment. Gave them the information. Never called. We had to wait till he went in there, and I explained to Dr. Anderson what this medication, because they looked at him and said, "What happened?" And I says, "Well, I took him in the emergency room to get some pain meds, and they gave him morphine, and this is what it did to him. Well, take him off." I said, "So he only had 2 pills. He's been off of it. I haven't given him any more." Okay, we do that. We go home. He's getting more confused, more confused. It was coming overwhelming. I called. I was given his social workers signed him whatever. There, I made 60 calls to her. They were never answered. I was at my wit's end. I finally called and left a message for Dr. Anderson. She did call back. It's the only phone call back that we had ever gotten from VA. Never mind that I have made numerous, 50, 60 calls to them that were never answered. And I do what she says. I take him into the emergency room. We get there and get him out of the car. My husband goes down. He's laying there on the ground. I called 911. I couldn't leave him. I explained to the 911 operator what happened, and I needed her to call the VA and have them to send up some people out here to help me. She connected me to them, and I explained what had happened, and they go, "Oh, well, it's not a real emergency." They did not want to come out. The 911 operator at that time intervened and said, "Excuse me, I don't think she would be calling from your parking lot unless it was an emergency." It was only then that they reluctantly came out. It was the same doctor who saw him previously in the emergency room. They get him in there, did the test, comes back in and explains, "Well, his confusion is caused by the morphine." Duh! He never told us. We would have never opted for that. My husband wouldn't have opted there. He didn't want to be confused. He would not have, if they would have told him that the morphine made him confused, he would have said no. He also told us that the morphine had triggered his liver to failing. We would not have opted for that had we known that it could do this. Dr. Boise chose not to do this. Dr. Boise knew he was on full treatment and chose to ignore this. Okay, they admit him. Now, I have gone to all my husband's doctor's appointments. I quit my job to be with him. I was there every single day. Within 2 days, he had a decubitus ulcer, something that nursing homes get fined for. I had to jump on him. I ended up having to turn him myself in order to get the care done. And it was that point that they explained that basically the morphine had triggered his liver, and because of his liver failing, it made him too weak that they could no longer switch him to the chemo. And the game plan was that this medication that they had given him, insisted on him having, and do or never, the game plan was supposed to be if he was due in 3 days to have a test to see what it was doing to the tumors, and if it wasn't working, that they were going to switch him to low chemo. But at this point, unfortunately, his liver was, with the failing, he was just too weak. They couldn't switch him. And within 4 days of him being admitted, I had to watch my husband take his last breath. Clearly, wrongdoing was here. I called the White House, who gave me a number to call, the Inspector General of the VA or whatever, and filed a complaint. That was in February. I've heard nothing. I have called them twice. I still have not heard, and tomorrow I will be calling. I will be protesting at the VA hospital itself if I have to. But I'm not letting this go. If anyone, if it's your husband, your father, your son, you had a bad experience at VA Medical Center in San Diego or anywhere in the country that caused damage, death, whatever, please email me at parrotforlife@live.com. That's PARROTFORLIFE at live.com. Or call me at 619-301-0481 or text me. Thank you.